Hey guys, what's up? I'm your host, Ethan Lemler, and this is the Ethan Lemler Podcast Show. Today on the show, we got George, Ryan, and Rishi. All right, we're here to talk about a really exciting Week 13. Tons of upsets, probably the most upsets we've seen this far. And we're going to talk about our picks and the games. So let's jump right into it. First off, the Saints-Falcons games. What we saw the Falcons have a pretty good game, as I predicted. But as we said, they weren't going to be able to close, and they weren't. Taysom Hill had a pretty good game like he's been having, surprisingly. And the Matt Ryan Falcons weren't able to keep up, lost by one score, but it was closer than most people. That it was a close game.
Yeah, the Falcons definitely did have a chance at the end.
Mm-hmm.
They just blew it like usual. I thought they were going to win this game, but they didn't. Sad.
Yeah, no, I think kind of what we expected. Falcons were going to keep it close, but they just can't close. We've seen that time and time.
Yeah. Taysom Hill with his first career passing touchdown as well.
Was that this week? He hasn't had
This
one
week.
last weeks.
I think he's running all his other.
I mean,
yeah,
Lamar
Taysom
2.0.
Taysom Hill is what Lamar tries to be.
That's just not true, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's just dumb. What we see is from Taysom, everybody's been doubting him, but he comes in, he goes 3-0 in the past 3 weeks. Hasn't been terribly hard competition, but he's played pretty well. Give credit where credit's due. Sean Payton trusted Taysom Hill, and Taysom Hill's performed. Let's go to the Lions-Bears games.
Wait, before you move on, did we all have the Saints?
Yeah, no, Georgia the Falcons.
George Falcons.
All right, so Lions-Bears, let me just say, I was the only one that picked the Lions. I had hope. Sadly, as I mentioned last time in my pick'em league, I wanted the Bears to win, but I was right, as I always am, and the Lions ended up winning it out. It really wasn't that entertaining of a game. Both of the teams.
Bears choked so bad. They were up like 15 at halftime.
Funny thing that happened.
It's what the Bears did.
Exactly what happened week 1, except the opposite way. Lions were up by a lot. Then the Bears came back and in the fourth quarter and won, just like what happened in this game. And both times I wanted the opposite to happen. So just a little bit of a funny note from my luck. We can just skip past that one though, because it really wasn't that entertaining. I just dropped my pen. Next game, Titan. Oh shoot, I messed that up. No, I didn't. Okay, sorry about that. Just looking at my grading for us. Next game, Titans, Browns. What happened? Browns.
I just want to say,
yeah, let's go.
I'm sorry
to
the Cleveland Browns organization for doubting them. They were fully capable in winning this game, and Baker just proved he's their franchise QB. 4 passing touchdowns in the first half, played elite, out of his mind. Got a little scary at the end, but the Browns pulled it out 9-3.
The Titans kind of came back though.
It was an entertaining game in the second half.
They pulled it back. But what can we say? Baker Mayfield had a great game. Browns had a great start to it. Titans weren't able to pull it back. Browns showed they're a competitor. And
wait, that's my third wrong pick in a row, and
it is.
You said I only have two wrong picks.
No, you had 3. I messed up. I didn't grade that game correctly. That's my fault. Yeah, what can we say other than Browns are scary right now? I hate those words. I really do as a Ravens fan. But they are a team. They're not to mess with.
I think a bigger thing than just the Browns winning is the Titans actually losing. Like, Derrick Henry's been unstoppable the past few weeks, and I think the Browns really showed how they can contain him. And he's possible to be contained.
Played like a beast. He stopped them on the goal line, right? No, it was a 4th and 1. Myles Garrett stopped Derrick Henry. It was a dominant win from the Browns defense until the second half. But I think they just got a little lazy because they were up by so much. They ended up coming out with the win. Not as big as they would have hoped for coming from the first half, but they got a big win. All right, Dolphins, Bengals. Another game which I picked the Dolphins. I wish the Bengals ended up winning because I'm a Ravens fan. But Bengals played pretty good. Dolphins did not. Tua didn't have a great game until – I don't think he had a great game at all, really. But Dolphins ended up keeping it. What do you guys have to say?
Yeah, let's talk about Tua. 7 passing touchdowns and 0 interceptions in his 3 starts. Yes.
Seems like he's had a kind of a slow start, but that is a great total for what you want a rookie
Yeah,
quarterback to have.
Tua has arguably been better than Justin Herbert, in my opinion.
I don't know. Let's not go that far.
Well,
Maybe
Herbert's
from this
played the
week,
full
yes.
season.
this week we'll get to that. But so far, Herbert's the rookie of the year. So
yeah, I don't think
Miami
Tua has been
defense
like
is-
playing.
Yeah.
I don't think he's been
I think
playing
that's
like
a skewed
elite.
stat because Tua really hasn't been playing. His first 2 weeks were good, but his last 2 weeks have not been elite football like we saw the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to come to. Like Tua hasn't been playing elite, but he's been getting the job done for the Dolphins. Dolphins have playoff hopes. I don't think they'll go far, but from
three
a bottom
games
tier
is all
team,
They have
to-
a really young team along with a really good coach in Flores, so they're scary to watch. Maybe not this year. They might not have that much of an impact, but next year definitely.
They have a great defense, too.
They do.
Fantasy,
Yeah,
I have
promising
them.
future.
They clutch up every single week.
Vikings, Jaguars. Scary game for the Vikings. Shouldn't have been that close. Bad interception by the Jaguars' third stringer led to an easy Vikings chip shot. Other than that, Vikings, they're in the playoffs currently. I mean, what can you say other than that? We should note that we are recording this as the 49ers are up 6-0, I think 7-0 now. And the Ravens, Cowboys have not played yet, just for future reference for everybody watching. But the Vikings did not an impressive victory from them after they've had a couple dominant weeks.
Yeah, I mean, the Jags have shown flashes of confidence these past few weeks. They've kept it close with almost every team they've played.
Mm-hmm.
The Vikings, who are playoff hopefuls, they're actually in the wild card now. They kept it close with the Packers, and they beat the Titans in Week 1, which just proves that they can get the job done. They're not closing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Vikings are like a really interesting team. They started off the season pretty bad, but they've been gaining momentum the past few weeks. Still an ugly win against Jacksonville, but I feel like the Vikings, they've been shocking some teams in the playoffs the past few years. I think they might have a chance to do it again.
Before I go on, I just want to say the Dolphins game, all of us picked the Dolphins, and this Vikings game, we all picked the Vikings. Moving right on, Raiders, Jets. Ryan, why don't you take this one?
Well, if you don't know by now, the Raiders won with 5 seconds to go with a Hail Mary because of just a terrible blitz call by Greg Williams.
Who is now fired. He is
Yes.
now out of a job.
I don't know. You all gave me you said the pick was terrible, but the Jets were winning with 15 seconds to go.
Technically, it was a terrible pick. Should be noted, Ryan did pick the Jets. Everybody else picked the Raiders.
The Jets did destroy the Raiders last year, though.
Those are two different teams.
Last year.
It was last year.
Yeah, but it was like utter destroyal.
But the Raiders right now, one game out of the wild card. Terrible couple of weeks, though. Barely losing to, I don't remember who last week. I can't remember.
They got that ugly loss against the Falcons last week.
Falcons,
by the Falcons.
ugly loss against the Falcons. And then this week against the Jets. It's just, we'll have to see what they do in the last couple of weeks. But right now, this is looking like a typical Raiders collapse. They've done this the last couple of years. And it's just,
the Raiders are the biggest boomer bust team. They could either go beat the best team in the league, the Chiefs, or they could almost drop a game to the Jets.
Right. Keep in mind, the Chiefs and Raiders are divisional opponents, so that could have something to do with it.
Well, they play again in week 17.
No, I'm pretty sure they finished their games.
They played twice.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. All right, let's go on. Texans, Colts. I picked the Texans. Everybody else picked the Colts. I'm mad because the Texans had this. They were driving down the field, and then bad snap, they lose the game. What can you really say other than that? Colts had an okay game against a not great Texans defense. Deshaun Watson did what he does. He showed that he is an elite quarterback right now in the league, even without a great team around him. But the Colts came out on top and are right now in a wild card spot. Anybody want to comment on that?
No, nothing much else to say with that game.
Okay. Cardinals Rams, another game I predicted wrong. I said my game was going to be I was putting everything on the Cardinals this week. They really let me down. Rams came back with a really good victory. Goff, what is Goff doing? I don't know. He had another good game after having a terrible week last week. I don't know. It's really unpredictable. I don't think at this point you can bet against the Rams because they pull off a performance like this. Kyler Murray had a pretty bad week again this week. They've dropped 4 of 5 and would have been 5 in a row if it wasn't for their Hail Mary a couple of weeks ago. Cardinals you should start to worry. I mean, they haven't really shown any signs of life or being a playoff team the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I said this at the beginning of the season that the Cardinals were one of the most overrated teams in the league. They kind of proved me wrong in the beginning of the season, but now you really start to see how the Cardinals play. I predicted the Rams, and I actually didn't think the Cardinals would keep it this close, but they did.
Yeah, I think right now Kyler Murray's getting the Lamar Jackson experience. Teams are starting to figure him out, and he's not able to go around it. We'll have to see how they're able to adjust with a young coach and a young quarterback for the rest of the year, especially since currently they are in a playoff spot. But we'll have to see what happens. Anybody else want to comment? Okay. Seahawks, I messed that one up too. I did not see that. Seahawks, Giants. Wow. I'm going to hand this one off to Ryan as well.
Okay, so the New York Giants, led by Colt McCoy, Wayne Gallman, and Alfred Morris, beat Russell Wilson and the Seahawks in Seattle.
What is this, 2013 to 2015?
I honestly, no one saw this coming. You heard me in our last episode. I had no faith in the Giants whatsoever, but somehow they pulled it off in the second half. The Seahawks could not stop Wayne Gallman, and he didn't get credit for any of the touchdowns, but he got them to the red zone on both of their touchdowns, which were eventually scored by none other than Alfred Morris.
Currently, the Giants are 5-7, but they're playing like a 12-win team right now. What can you say other than their defense has stepped up? They've been more or less dominant the past couple of weeks, and they stopped the Seahawks offense, which has been very good the last couple of weeks as well, until recently. I'll talk about that in a second. Offense, Colt McCoy didn't have a great game, but as you said, rookie running back Wayne Gallman stepping up, absolutely driving force down the field. Seahawks defense, which has shown competence the last 2 or 3 weeks, could not stop him. They've stepped up a lot the last 2 weeks.
Definitely have not shown confidence.
They have the last 2 weeks.
I think it should
Against
matter.
a quarterback who can't even throw
like
checkdowns and Carson Wentz, Seahawks defense does not play well.
Okay.
It's not like
Okay.
it's not the Giants are playing like a 12-win team. They aren't playing great. It's just we're seeing a total collapse of the Seahawks and the Cardinals. They've both been very, very bad down the stretch. They're not playing like the teams that they can be. I don't know if it's a problem with the coach, a problem with the players, but they need to figure it out.
All right,
I think with like games like these upset games, I think we're seeing a trend on how to beat the best teams in the league. With the Seahawks, their O-line is not great. If you get pressure on them, then there is a way you could beat Russell Wilson.
I'm gonna say a hot take. This is probably my firiest take this year, and I'll get a lot of hate for it. Russell Wilson is one of the most overrated quarterbacks this year in the NFL. People say, oh, he should have an MVP. No, every single year he's had a great 6-7 weeks, and then he collapses. It happens every year. He's a really good quarterback, but is he better than Mahomes or Rodgers or maybe Breeze or Watson? Watson, I'm not sure, but definitely Mahomes and Rodgers. Mahomes, I'll get into that later. But Russell Wilson should not be in conversation with Mahomes at this moment. He's shown he's not able to play consistently throughout the year, and he isn't able to lead like he's been able to. He's had a really rough couple of weeks. You guys want to comment on that?
Wilson does have amazing, pretty good receivers around him, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, but their O-line is just one of the most incompetent O-lines in all of football. They can't block. They don't support Russell Wilson, even with just a little bit more effort and more better blocking. Russell Wilson could easily make throws that he didn't get an opportunity to make.
George, you had a little bit of a grimace on your face.
Yeah, Wilson is not an overrated quarterback. You see, it is a big problem with the O-line. I agree with him. You see, when the Packers, when they played the Bucks, their O-line did not play a good game at all. They let the most sacks of the year, and guess what happened to Aaron Rodgers? He threw 2 picks that game. That's half of his season total. I don't think it's a problem with Russ. They're just facing better competition down the stretch. They're going against these top-tier D linemen that are just getting to Russ. The pocket is collapsing almost immediately. You're not letting Russ do his job, even though he has his talent around him. You can't expect him to release the ball in under a second. Receivers even though DK and Tyler Lockett is one of the best duos in the NFL, even they're not good enough to get open in under 2 seconds.
So you're calling the Giants better competition. Take that.
All right, let's move on.
As you said, the defense really did step it up that game.
They did.
They have been stepping it up during their 4-game winning streak.
Ryan, what is it like to say that word? 4-game winning streak.
It's great. I don't think it's happened in so long.
It's been a while.
Yeah, a very long time.
Packers, Eagles. I'm going to pass this one over to George.
All right, so as we saw, the Packers dominance of the Eagles. Jalen Hurts comes in, and suddenly they show sparks of life against this Packers team. Luckily, the Eagles' defense collapsed, and we saw Aaron Jones run for a spectacular 77 yards to seal the game off. But
so many adjectives used. So many.
Yeah, but I actually want to talk about the Eagles here. There was nothing new about the Packers just being a dominant offense. Holding the Eagles' defense to only 3 points in 3 quarters. They're playing like the best team in the NFL. What I really
okay. Let's slow down a little bit. Let's slow down a little bit.
So I actually watched the entirety of this game, and what I want to speak specifically about the Eagles is they have a defense, okay? Even though Darius Slay has not played particularly well against DK Metcalf, Devontae Adams, their defense can hang with the better team, but their offense is just one of the most incompetent offenses in all of football. They can't, even in the first half, Wentz is missing wide open checkdowns, wide open out routes, wide open slants, and that just can't happen. And then you bring in Jalen Hurts, your offense has signs of hope, and I feel like what I want to get to is that I don't think Jalen Hurts can lead the Eagles to a playoff spot, but I don't think the Eagles are as bad as people portray.
Well, yeah, I'm a fan of the Eagles defense as well. They only held the Packers to 20 points in 1 half. So that's pretty impressive.
George, what I'm going to say about it, we saw the Packers playing like they are. They're playing like they're going to win the NFC. Currently, there's nobody at their match. We'll have to see if the Drew Brees Saints could match them in the playoffs. But right now, they're playing really dominant. Eagles, what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, absolute nothing there. They're playing like they're in an open NFC East, and they're just dying. They had the lead, and they lost it, and there's nothing there. At the beginning of the year, I did say I'm Aaron Rodgers. I said he was overrated, and right now I'm looking like a complete fool. Aaron Rodgers had an amazing game, like he's been having. He's nothing. He's not overrated at all. I don't know what I was thinking. Packers look good. Eagles don't. I don't think there's much else to say.
We can talk about Jalen Hurts a little bit.
if you want to listen more about Jalen Hurts, you can listen to Noah's podcast on our Spotify. Find that at the new Ethan Lemler podcast show. And again, I'll give a shout out to our socials, Instagram at official_ELPS. But
I
Jalen
just wanted to say my prediction was right. I said Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams would both have huge games.
they did.
Exactly what happened.
Let's move on to the Patriots Chargers game. Rishi, what was that Chargers pick there?
So obviously a horrible, horrible pick by me. I'm looking like a fool. Patriots completely dominated. Justin Herbert, 53 passes. They didn't run the ball much. 2 interceptions, 209 yards. But Patriots defense showed that it still got it. Even with all the opt-outs, Patriots defense still one of the best in the league.
What did I say? I said Cam Newton's playing really good in these last couple of weeks. You guys all doubted me. What happens?
Cam Newton had less than 100 passing yards.
That doesn't
Yeah, I don't
matter.
think-
Did you see him
Cam
running the
Newton
ball?
had less than 100 passing yards.
How many rushing yards? Did he have?
I don't know, probably like 20.
Give me 1 second. Ryan, you talk about it for a second. What did you think?
Well, it's safe to say that no one expected a 45-0 shutout from the Patriots.
That's true.
Like, I was on the edge of picking the Chargers in this game. Thankfully, I did not. The Patriots defense really showed up against the rookie Herbert.
Yeah, we can see right now Tom Brady and the Bucks with the most talent around them, most talented offense in the entire league, and a top 5 defense with Tom Brady under center, 7-6. Bill Belichick, half of his team opts out. There are no-namers everywhere on the field, 6-6.
Yeah, I mean,
Who do you think was responsible for those 6 championships?
yeah,
Because
I think
really
that's
starting out how
topic for another episode.
yeah. But when you look back at when somebody asks how great was Bill Belichick, I think you look at this win right here. This cements him as one of the best, if not the greatest head coach of all time. He took a Cam Newton, no-name anybody, to a 45-0 win over a fairly good Chargers offense. Who else could do that?
The Chargers defense is pretty good. Lockdown corners, new linebackers, a pretty good D-line.
What are their
They
coaching
just-
in the
The
history?
Chargers just
Yeah.
haven't figured out.
I think you're exaggerating it a bit. The
I don't think I
Chargers
am.
aren't like a great team.
I never said they were, but this Patriots team isn't good. I mean, it's okay, but it isn't good. And
Yeah.
45-0 is not a win that this Patriots team should have beat the Chargers by.
Yeah,
I
the
agree with
Patriots
that.
are currently.
I think the
I
main
don't
difference
think
is
they'll
Belichick
be-
versus Lynn, and that's where it came down to.
Yeah, they're looking outside of the playoffs right now. 2 games back of the Dolphins. I don't think they have the talent to actually get in the playoffs with the season winding down.
We'll have to see what happens. Season's been surprising so far. Patriots, although obviously as a Ravens fan, I hope they don't. We'll have to see what they're able to do over this they had being a hot streak. Okay, me, George, and Ryan all picked the Patriots, while Rishi picked the Chargers there. Chiefs, Broncos, Mahomes, and the Chiefs offense had a little bit of a scare going in. Broncos defense played pretty good, but overall, the Chiefs were a little bit too much. Closer game than everybody thought, but the Chiefs were able to come out on top.
Yeah, we did miss this game in our predictions episode,
We did.
but
You're correct.
I think all of us were going to go Chiefs.
Yeah. Mhm.
We actually I think all of us, we thought this was going to be a blowout, but the Broncos did show up.
The line, I
defense
believe, was
played well.
Chiefs
It
were
was
favored
11,
by
I think.
13.5 points. So
13,
did
yeah.
Las Vegas.
It was the
Yeah.
Kendall Hinton energy. That's what propelled them for this performance.
Kendall Hinton on the bench.
Not even in the bench. I don't think he was there.
I think
Practice
he's
squad.
the squad, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, as I said, I was going to mention it earlier. Mahomes, I believe he's the best in the NFL. I don't think it's that close. He didn't have his best game, but he made spectacular throws. One that I remember from yesterday was he stepped to the left and threw a 10-yard dart to Kelsey to the right of him. I don't know who else. Some people can do that, but I don't know can do that consistently like he's been able to do. I don't think anybody's right now as dominant as he is. I don't see other than an anomaly how the Chiefs lose the rest of the season, including the playoffs.
Yeah,
I
best
don't
team
know
in
about
football.
I don't know about going undefeated for the rest of the season, but
We'll have
they
to see.
are right now the best team in the NFL.
Yes. Okay, the game that just ended for us at least. Steelers, Washington football team. Me, Ryan, Rishi picked the Steelers. That's not all of us. Somebody was brave enough to choose the football team. George, talk about it for a second.
All right, so I haven't watched like every single game this year, but Antonio Gibson is on my fantasy team, so I do keep track of the Washington football team a lot. I watch their games. So I was really high on the Washington football team. I think they're going to win the NFC East. They come in, they play with passion. Alex Smith is really starting to look like a good.
He's looking good.
Yeah, he's a veteran presence. He's
He didn't
really
have a good first half, but he came in and really dominated.
yeah, he's doing a good job. He's making the right decisions, and he's just doing what he's supposed to. He's not playing hero ball or anything, but he's just going in there and doing his job, which is exactly what the Washington football needs. They have a great defense, and if Alex Smith just keeps doing what he's doing and Antonio Gibson comes back healthy, they have a top 10 receiver, McLaurin, and they played with passion, and the Steelers are getting ahead of themselves, and that's why I picked the Washington football team.
I should have
I agree with everything you said, but that the Washington football team will win the division.
I agree.
Yes.
Giants have the tiebreaker 2-0 against them this season, but Washington has played better than people expected.
Again, as I said I think I said this about the Dolphins football team. Might not make it into the playoffs, but they might be the scariest. They're super young, especially their defense and their defensive line with Chase Young and Vontae Sweat. They are a scary, scary team that nobody will want to play. And I should have listened to my gut. The Steelers, terrible. They really aren't that good of a team. They are 11-1. I think they should be 8 less wins right now because they played terrible. They didn't play good. Big Ben really he had an okay game in the first half. Came in, played inconsistent ball, some bad throws. One to his third string running back on 4th and 1. Another tipped ball that got in the way in front of Eric Ebron. And Steelers aren't playing like a team that has playoff hopes and Super Bowl hopes at this moment.
Yeah, 2 of the biggest upsets in the NFC East this week of all season. We'll see if the Cowboys can continue the
Let's
trend
not
tomorrow.
see if the Cowboys can see that.
I don't
Because
think they
please,
will.
God, no. I will.
I hope not.
Sad.
If Eagles put in Jalen Hurts for the whole game, they might have had the upset over the Packers.
I don't think so.
Definitely
I don't
not.
think so.
I don't know. He was looking pretty good out there until the pressure really started coming.
Yeah,
I think he was good until the Packers were able to adjust. Their playbook was for Carson Wentz, and they went in, and Hurts went in, and of course they were a little bit adjusted, but their defense really didn't see Hurts coming in, and then the second drive he had and on, they pretty much stopped him, so they adjusted to him pretty.
Yeah, the defense really started stopped trying after the third quarter.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about the Steelers before we end it.
Yeah, sure.
Right here.
Go ahead.
So I think they're definitely getting way ahead of themselves. 11-0 coming to this game. Take a loss. What I'm curious to see is how the Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, they bounce back from this game. I'm pretty sure
they play the Jets next week.
No, they play the Bills next week.
The Bills.
Oh.
Go at Buffalo, Sunday night game.
It's a tough game.
It's going to be a tough game. The Bills are playing pretty good right now, but I think it's all – say they lose there. They can lose against Indianapolis. I think it's coming down Week 17 at Cleveland. That's going to be the division game.
Yeah.
I just
That's
think
gonna
that
be
right now.
that might come down to the division. If they lose to the Bills, Browns are able to beat the Ravens next week. Hopefully not. We'll see. They probably
I just
will.
think right now the Steelers are the second best team in that division behind the Browns.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. I hate to say it, but the Browns are looking like a much more dominant team. At this time, I think that's gonna be it for us today. At this time of recording, Bills 49ers are tied. We'll talk about this game in our next show and hopefully talk about the Ravens Cowboys as well, which will be played tomorrow at 8 o'clock. For now, I'm Ethan. This is the Ethan Lemler Podcast Show. See you guys next time. Adios.